Ever since then, Dawn started bullying me with phrases like, QQ, how many doubts do you have? And soon after, a few classmates joined in. To them, it seemed like I was acting in two contradictory ways. First, trying to humiliate Sama and pick a fight, and then apologizing. But I know I wasn't trying to fight Sama. It wasn't a fight at all. At least from my perspective. The situation spiraled out of control due to miscommunication, emotional overwhelm, and interference from others. My intention was to share something meaningful or positive about Sama, but because I was nervous, it came across the wrong way and led to misunderstandings. People, especially TP, misinterpreted my actions, or maybe, based on my experiences, it wasn't a misunderstanding at all. My friends said the whole situation was exaggerated unnecessarily, but regardless, I always apologized. Eventually, during New Year, I gave Sama a chocolate and apologized again. She said, "It's okay," and we hugged it out. She treated me kindly after that. Even though she had initially misunderstood me, she treated me kindly after that. I'll always respect and appreciate her for that. Unlike Dawn, Sama was a sweetheart and always treated me well, which meant a lot. As for TP, sometimes I wonder if she purposely interrupted me that day. She had done things like this before. For example, during the final year, before the PPT competition incident, there was Teachers' Day celebration. I wasn't planning to participate at all, but I got a call one evening saying my name had been entered as an anchor. It turned out TP had entered my name without even asking me. Who was she to do that? I was furious but had no choice but to do it. I had no contact numbers for the organizers, no information about the program, and not even the sequence of activities. I had to prepare jokes and anchor without any practice. On the day of the event, I finally got the list of activities just 1 hour before it started. Despite my co-anchor and me scrambling to prepare, it didn't go well. And guess what? TP wasn't even there to face me, as it was the first thing that I was going to do when I went to college. But she was not there. She showed up later and I could see her sitting in the front row watching me. Another example of her behavior happened before the Teachers' Day celebration. During the freshers' party, we were supposed to organize for first-year students. Nobody from our class participated, and the second-year students ended up handling it. I remember standing with a group of girls, including TP and Svetlana, discussing it. Svetlana said, "Why should we give them a party when we didn't got one?" The rest of us just listened. The next day, Ishita ma'am asked why none of us had participated. The class stayed silent. So I spoke up and said, "I'm not going to name anyone, but some girl was saying that we didn't got a party, so why should we give them one?" Before I could finish, TP interrupted, twisting the situation, saying, "Ma'am, she's the only one who thinks that way. Nobody else thought it like that." I was shocked. TP completely distorted the truth, making it seem like I was the one with the negative mindset, even though Svetlana said it. If I had been in a better mental state, I would have stood up for myself and reminded TP about the group conversation. But instead, I stayed silent. It felt like TP just wanted to single me out and make me look bad. Dawn was another troublemaker. She almost got suspended because someone complained about her disruptive behavior in class, but her verbal attacks on me were because of her loyalty to her best friend, Sama. I understand. However, she took it way too far, even after I had apologized multiple times. As for Ishita ma'am, in her last class with us, I remember when she was engaging with the class for the one last time, she gave her view on what she thought about every student. She talked about everyone except me. She didn't want to say anything initially, but a classmate persuaded her that she should say something. and I too agreed. She told me angrily, "If you want to fight in the class, you should do so out of the class." And all I could say out of overwhelm was, "Ma'am, I've changed." It seems she was frustrated with me about that incident for a long time. But it was disappointing that she chose to let it out in the last class with us. What was even more deeply disappointing and hurtful was that it was the only thing that she had to say. I've done so many things for her, but she chose to speak only about that day's incident. It's possible that she didn't even remember the good things that I've done for her, like staying by her side when she tried to do various things to improve her relationship with the class, or how many times I've apologized to her on behalf of the class when something happened. I guess that's what it is. No matter how much good you do, some people only remember you for that one mistake that you made, and by Ishita ma'am's behavior, it makes her one of them. I just wish I could explain myself properly when Ishita ma'am said that. Ishita ma'am could have asked me what was going on with me, could have asked if everything was alright that day when I was trying to convince her to let me give the speech in the class. She was not comfortable. Then and there, she could have asked me what was going on with me, but no, she didn't. Ishita ma'am focused solely on one negative incident, particularly in a final moment that could have been more balanced. While I had engaged positively in the past and shown good intentions, Ishita ma'am chose not to recognize or acknowledge this. This behavior suggests a limited perspective where she didn't look at the broader perspective, the broader picture, or consider my growth or context. She was just focused on a single negative event, which is indicative of narrow-mindedness. The comment, "If you want to fight, you should do it outside the class," come across as a harsh and quick judgment. Instead of seeking clarification or engaging in a deeper conversation to understand my actions or emotional state, Ishita ma'am appeared to have assumed the worst or reacted based on an incomplete understanding. This snap judgment, particularly in a situation where more empathy or inquiry could have been shown, points to a judgmental attitude. She acted as if she could understand the psychology of the students, but she was wrong in my case. Now that I'm talking about it, I realize most of the time she would went out what's going on in her life when it came to engaging with the class. At least my classmates, unlike her, knew I wasn't this cheap type of a person as Ishita ma'am, Sama and Dawn, who didn't know me that well, were making me out to be, were thinking of me to be during that incident. When that incident happened, after the class, they asked me what was going on and tried to understand. But I wasn't in the proper emotional state, so I shut them out and didn't explain myself at all back then. So they went to hear Sama's side of the story, which only worsened the situation further. What I've learned from this incident is that it's good to have pure intentions and a solid plan to handle a situation. But if you're not emotionally stable or in the right mental state, it's better to step back. Acting from a place of instability can lead to more harm than good. Looking back, I wasn't even in the right state to communicate effectively, let alone give a speech, and that made everything worse. Not every situation needs intervention. Some problems are best left for others to resolve. Don't let others' opinions define your value. They're often based on limited perspectives. Even though Ishita ma'am's image was not good, whether it was my classmates or juniors, they would talk shit about her behind her back and would call her a crazy person. But I didn't, and I would never do that because I saw her efforts. She was just trying to be a different and fun teacher. That's a different thing. She didn't recognize my efforts. I was just misunderstood by them. My psychologist said that none of it was my fault, and I did try my best to be responsible. Still, I feel that feelings were hurt, and all I know is that I apologized from my heart. It's a different thing that some took it while some didn't, and it's their choice. I will not let that incident make me think negatively about anyone involved in that incident. They're mostly good people who just misunderstood me. That's a different thing. They only chose to see the negative, and given my then mental state, I couldn't communicate, express, and stand for myself properly. A part of me also feels that even if I did try to clarify the misunderstandings, who knows, they would most likely not understand. I also now realize that I am not defined by others' misunderstandings or judgments. I know my intentions were pure and I did my best in a challenging situation. I accept that I cannot control how others perceive me, but I can control how I feel about myself. I recognize my efforts even though when others do not. I choose to forgive myself for moments where I couldn't express myself clearly. I let go of the need for validation from others and trust in my own truth. I am stronger and wiser from this experience. I deserve kindness and respect, and I give that to myself. Even when my good deeds are overlooked, they still matter. I release the guilt and shame that I have carried from this incident. And that's it. Thank you for listening. If you have something to share to let it out, do DM me on Instagram, your story, and your story may feature in one of my videos. Take care. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.